Ladies and gentlemen, I'm meadsy69. Welcome back to the channel. So moving up to tier 9 of the highest DPM tank per tier. Now this is where the DPM gets mega high, and not only are we looking at the highest DPM of tier 9, but we're also looking at the highest DPM tank of the whole game. Yes, the whole game. So of course it is a tank destroyer. It's not this tank. This tank used to be number 1. That is before it got overtaken by the SU-12254. Now this is way above everything else, literally way above everything when it comes to DPM. But as I have been saying throughout the whole series, just because it is the highest DPM tank of the game, does it make the tank good? No, not quite. Because with this tank, the only really good thing about it is that DPM. Other than the DPM, if this tank did not have the DPM that it's got, it would be absolutely poor. But because it has the DPM, it's okay. And that is about it. It is okay. The only thing with the tank, because it's quite weak when it comes to armor, no gun depression, it's got no turret, you need an opportunity to actually release that DPM, and that is the struggle with this tank. And not just this tank, but that's the struggle with some of the other tanks out there with the DPM high like this tank. So what is the DPM? Well, 4,275 DPM. Absolutely massive, over 4,000. Usually you would only get that high if you're using HE DPM dramatically increases, obviously because it does more damage. If you look at something like a FV4202 using HE, because it's got the HESH, you can actually really use that, because the HESH is the main shell. That's the shell that you want to be using. That also has well over 4,000. So, but we're not looking at the premium rounds. We are just looking at standard. So 4,275. So the reload time on that is 5.89 seconds. Very, very, very low. And you are doing 420 alpha every shot or thereabouts. Penetration 258 on your AP. Standard, not too bad, but not greatest. And 340 on your heat. Very, very good. And 68 on your HE. So as I've said, 420 alpha on your AP, 360 on your heat, and 500 on your HE. Aim time 3.3, not too bad for a tank destroyer. And the dispersion is 0.326, not the greatest. And if you look at that gun depression, yeah, 4 degrees of gun depression really does suck. So the top speed, however, is 48 kilometers per hour. So it's... I didn't even look at the armor. So the armor profile, you got 100 on your front. That's nothing. That is absolutely nothing. There's no really, they're all weak points. Most of them are weak points. And you've not got that strong anywhere. Most of the front of you can be penetrated and will be penetrated if anybody looks at you. Of course, like all tanks, if you have, you could get lucky and get a troll bounce. If you're lucky, you could get a troll bounce. So let's go into game and see how this tank plays and how I think you should play this tank. So I've got a couple of games. Now, I've only got 2 battles, but to be honest, both battles were really difficult to try and get, and that's the same with the tier 10 video that I'm trying to make as well. It took me freaking ages just to try and get a good battle. I was doing next to nothing. I was literally doing next to nothing in a tank that has the highest DPM in the game. Like I said, 4,200. If people just look at that DPM, people will be like, wow, that's amazing. I want to play this tank. But again, DPM doesn't always matter, and we're going to look at that more in the next series where we do the lowest DPM tanks per tier, because people look at the DPM and think, oh my god, look how low that DPM is, but it doesn't always mean it's a bad tank. And it's the same with this situation. 4,200 DPM, you would think it's amazing, but no, it's got nothing else really to go with this. I would prefer if they made the front plate really, really strong and dropped the DPM to like 3,000 3,500, 3,600, something like that, but made the front plate really, really strong. But as it is, it's literally, it's got speed, yes, got no gun depression, as you can see here. Even if we did find a tank destroyer in that position, we cannot get our shot off. You can see here, we're trying to get the shot on the Kampfpanzer. We do manage to do that in a 458 roll. If you are... How to play the tank is a very difficult decision, because you don't want to be sat at the back of the map. But these kind of tanks, you really have to. You really have to just sit at the back. And you have to get yourself in a position where you can farm some shots, because what good is your DPM if you're not going to be able to use it? So you have to make sure that you put yourself in a position where you can use that DPM. Now, whether that's to sit at the back of the map, or whether that is to sort of maybe go with your mediums, because your mediums are, I mean, you've got more DPM than your mediums. The only problem is that if you do get caught out, and the mediums will be able to circle you, but that's where you hopefully have the protection from your other mediums. So make sure that you do have that cover. Now, we did actually get a lucky bounce here from the Kampfpanzer. If I didn't, we would be struggling right now. My signal goes there. We are able to get this shot. I missed the fire button again and again, and we did actually take a shot, which is unfortunate, because I could have actually took another shot and got a bit more damage if I did not take that fire button. I would have been able to take another shot, because 560 he done. But I mean, we finished on 3.3k damage. Very, very easy. And you can do that regularly if you have the shots. And very, very different to how some people will play it. So very, very easy there. 3.5k damage. We have chose the wrong battle, sorry. So we're going to have another game. Played a little bit different, but not too much different. So that's one way you can play it, where you sit at the back of the map and you obviously you farm some damage. And the other way is if you do go with your mediums and you help your mediums. But that means you have to push front line with your mediums. That means you have to be prepared to take some damage, and at least try to maybe share your damage with the other mediums. So there is that way. Obviously that way is of course the more fun way to play, but sometimes playing it that way, you will get wrecked. You will get absolutely wrecked, especially if you're in a tier 10 battle as well. So we're going to sit here. We are going to go with the mediums. The AMX has been spotted. We're just going to have a couple of, I mean, the enemy have got 2 tank destroyers. So because of the DPM of the tank, I'm not afraid to shoot, and I'm not afraid to miss, because I have plenty of ammo and I have plenty of DPM. So we're actually going to have a few shots into that bush, because most of the time that is where tank destroyers go. So of course, if I have a shot on these mediums, I want to take it. Now, I don't want to rush forward at the moment, because on the right side, there's only one heavy that's been spotted. I don't know where the 2 tank destroyers are, and I'm afraid that if I start pushing, the tank destroyers are going to be there, and they're going to absolutely tear me apart. But as you can see, the enemies, they have now started being spotted. The 2 tank destroyers have been spotted, so this is where I'm going to make my move and help my medium tanks. The FV422 there has lost a lot of hit points, but the AMX and the Leopard have both also lost some hit points. So that's where I'm going to try and use my mobility to get behind these guys. So at least there's 2 mediums in front and me behind with 4,200 DPM. So he's going to have to do something. Either he pushes me, and then if he does push me, my 2 mediums can start pushing, because they both lost a lot of hit points. So there's another shot. We're going to just back up a little bit, and you can see me taking the attention of that guy has able to push allow the 2 mediums to push. And now we can try to chase the Leopard 1, bully him. He's got a nice shot there. That very nice shot. Not as nice as this shot here. One shot, bang, see you later, Leopard 1. And that was very, very important, because if we wouldn't have killed him, he would have flanked around and maybe bullied our heavies over here. But he's now gone. We're now able to, again, get into a position where we can get that damage. And there's the Yo there. We're going to get a shot into a bit of a low roll, 372. But again, we're not too bothered about the low rolls. We're not too bothered if we miss, because the DPM is so good on this tank. It doesn't matter too much if you do miss that odd shot. So just 3 tanks left alive. The Type 71 here. We're just going to switch to heat. Yes, I mean, 358. We did the same damage that we just did, and that is using heat. But we wanted to guarantee our pen. Now, I don't want to rush forward at the moment because, of course, there is a Death Star and there is a Jaegeroo. So the Death Star could kill me. He could shoot me frontally. He can HE me at the front and still kill me. So I just want to make sure that I'm pushing at the right time. So I'm just going to wait for my team a little bit, see where these tank destroyers go, and then just push forward just a little bit. So the Type 71 is getting shot. We're going to try to go close to the building, not able to get the shot, and we can see the Jaegeroo is pushing around. So you know what? I'm going to ignore the Type 71 and get behind this Jaegeroo. Now, I do get lucky in a minute because I am spotted, totally ignoring the Death Star. Somehow he only does 500 damage, although he does put me on fire, so he does get lucky there, but I get lucky that I actually survive. So 3k damage. We're going to probably get just one more shot into this guy. He is on his own against 5 tanks, and again, 3.3k damage, but we did that very, very easily. So that is what this tank can do, and pretty much the only thing it can do is pump up that damage very, very quickly if you get the opportunity. So that is the SU-122-54. Let me know what your thoughts are on this tank. To be honest, I'm not a lover of it. Even with that high DPM, I'm really not a lover of it. All the other stats about it is just a bit too weak for me. So I hope you enjoyed today's video, guys. I'm meadsy69, and I'll catch you all soon. Bye-bye. With